Lucknow is making headlines, in large part due to its world-class infrastructure, its rapidly developing agricultural landscape, and its excellence in ease of doing business. So to decode what the city of Nawabs is doing differently and how it's shaping the state of Uttar Pradesh's smart city vision, we're here at the Leaders of Tomorrow Springboard in the city of Lucknow.
In the first segment, we have the managing partner, startup banking in IDFC FIRST Bank, Chaitanya Suvanam. And in the second segment, we're joined by Bal Sachin Gupta, founder of V6, ArthGyan.
Lucknow, the cultural gem of Uttar Pradesh, is fast becoming the cornerstone of the state's ambitious smart city vision. The city's vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem and focus on sustainable urban development have helped solidify its position as a burgeoning hub for innovation and growth.
Thanks, ET Now team, for once again bringing leaders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders under one roof. The efforts ET Now team is taking to do this event across 20 cities around the country is amazing. You are nurturing leadership and entrepreneurship across the country. Thank you once again for these efforts. Good evening, Lucknow, and let me congratulate you for inspiring all other cities across India and also UP to transform cities into smart cities. And that's a big achievement for a city and to inspire other cities. And when I was asked to present IDFC FIRST Bank today to the members here, I was thinking, what should I present, right? And I was thinking what a smart city means. When someone says smart city, what comes to our mind? Any guesses? What just springs up to our mind when someone says smart city? High tech. Exactly. Innovation. Ease of doing business. Quality of life. Exactly, sir. Sustainable development. That's amazing. Good healthcare. Sure. So in a way, it is one technology, other being futuristic, and healthcare and sustainability. More importantly, keeping the center focus on the citizen that lives in the city, right? Citizen-focused development. So these are some of the words that spring up to my mind as well, when I thought about the word smart city. And then I was reflecting on IDFC FIRST Bank's journey since it became a bank in 2015, and I've remarkably thought like the journey of IDFC FIRST Bank has been very similar, right? Just to give a small background of IDFC FIRST Bank, IDFC Bank that time in 2015 got a banking license, and it started a journey in December 2015, and by 2018 it was predominantly a corporate bank with about 75% of the balance sheet still being corporate assets. And then, one of our investors and the government of India, our board thought, it's time to pivot, typical startup language. It's time to pivot because the opportunity on the retail side is great, and, the country needs a bank that leads the banking sector in digitalizing the banking. So, the government and the board decided to merge two entities, IDFC Bank and Capital First, and become IDFC FIRST Bank. So this was 2018 December, and last 5 years, if I reflect upon, the journey has been phenomenal. Most of you are aware how to judge a bank. On the asset side, it is more or less about the net interest margins and the NPA ratios. It was about 75% corporate balance sheet that time, and now it is 75% retail. On the liability side, you judge a bank with CASA ratios. And 2018 December, the bank was having about 8% CASA ratio, and now we are about 46%. Phenomenal growth. As a seasoned banker, I would judge this growth to be really great, coupled with a great capital adequacy ratio and great NPA ratio, which is sustainable. I would judge this to be a very comfortable and sustainable growth. And then I was thinking, what made this possible, right? This is the kind of ending, but the prelude to this, right? And the lead up to this, what made this possible? How did IDFC FIRST Bank achieve this? When I reflected, these are the same principles of a smart city. What a smart city does, smart city keeps its center focus on the citizen and see how it can bring technology, how it can bring sustainability, how it can bring digitalization, everything to help the life of a citizen. So we also took the same approach. 2018, when we started, we really asked ourselves, in the current banking scenario, what is it that a typical customer is missing? And when we realized, we did so many things, but I would just give you 2-3 instances. I'm sure many of you, any of you have our individual credit cards? I'm sure all of you have individual credit cards, I believe, right? And any of you have, by mistake, not paid the dues on time, ever? Anyone did that, in cardinal sin? And what banks charge if you ever, not pay the due on time, right? What's the interest rate? Typically, it is about 35%. That's really, high. No one, and we asked a question like, why should that be the case? So if you don't pay on time, and let's say if you take a personal loan, I'm sure it will not be more than 9, 10, 11%, right? So if a citizen can get a personal loan at 9, 10%, which is also an unsecured credit, when the same citizen, he or she, revolves a credit card, why should that be 35%? So we took a call. We said, let's link all our credit card rollovers to CIBIL score. So one thing that IDFC did at a very early stage was all our credit cards, if ever there is a revolve, we pull the CIBIL score, and the customer CIBIL score, let's say, warrants say 9.5% interest, the rollover happens at 9.5% interest. So that is what I mean by a very customer-centric approach. Again, on the corporate side, how many of you here are entrepreneurs, if I can just understand a bit? Quite a lot of us, right? And all entrepreneurs would definitely know in their bones that your current account balances would not typically earn any interest. Banks are not regulatorily paid, are capable of paying interest on current account balances, which is fine. But then, it would be great if your ideal balances in a current account can earn interest. And it's a hard call for a bank because, bank's most profitable liability comes from current account. But then we thought it's not about bank. This decision should be again taken with customer, being the centric person. So we thought, what is best for the customer? So what we did was we launched an account called Car Booster account. So an entrepreneur, if let's say in the current account leaves a typical 10 lakhs, let's say, 2 lakhs will be left for liquidity. Anything above 2 lakhs will be swept into an FD, and it continues to earn interest. And if the customer gives a check for, let's say, 1,059 rupees, exactly 1,059 will be pre-matted without any pre-mat charges, and the rest will continue to earn interest. This is again what we believe is a very customer-first approach. I will again give one last example, and then if you ever saw your bank account statements, I'm sure there are many charges, right? Banks charge 10 rupees. If there is an SIP bounce, some charges. If there is check bounce, some charges. We saw, and then there are typically some 28 charges that banks typically levy. We believe that if a futuristic bank, should not be charging bank customers on these things, which most of the time inadvertently happen. So we thought, let us cancel all these 28 charges. Bank earns when it lends, simple, and that's the major way bank earns, and that's it. So we simplified all the charges and made about 28 charges nil. Today in IDFC FIRST Bank current account or savings bank account, there won't be any 28 charges. In fact, there won't be any charges. We majorly earn money only on when we lend, which is a bank's way of earning revenue. So this is the customer first approach we took, and it really paid off well. Lucknow is inspiring all other cities to be a smart city. And most of these smart cities also lead through technology. And today, the way technology gets into a citizen's life is primarily through startups. And today morning we went to a university and we encountered really brilliant youngsters solving future problems using technology. And we thought we should do our part in helping, bringing technology to banking is one thing, but if we have to bring technology to citizens' life, we believe we should be part of the startup journeys and help startups grow. That's the primary way in which we grow, right? So we studied the startup landscape. Today, the startup story is, of course, Mamath IPO, and also about unicorns, 110 unicorns, Sunicorns, people talk about these. But then there is a great number of brilliant minds using technology and solving future problems in cities like Lucknow, in cities like Dehradun. We found great startups in Guwahati. So we believe that startups and entrepreneurs here in this room and outside have really great potential to transform Lucknow as a city and inspire other cities. And IDFC FIRST Bank would be really happy to be part of your journey. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
It's time for a short break, but our continued coverage of the leaders of tomorrow's springboard in the city of Nawabs, Lucknow, continues. We'll be right back. Welcome back to our continued coverage of the leaders of tomorrow's springboard in the city of Nawabs. We're here on ground to bring you all the highlights. Thanks for being here. What did you think of that panel?
Panelists were amazing, and the level has been set quite high on the stage and making me nervous too. So the things what all those intellects have said about Lucknow, since I am just a child in front of them, and I've seen both part of the Lucknow, the old one where the heritage lies, and the new one where the international stadium is having a lot of cricket matches there. So Lucknow has been growing multi-dimensional aspects, whether it is textile, whether it is heritage, whether it is being the latest international stadium having a lot of cricket matches there, definitely the Dasheri part, few other things like the Kala Namak produced in some eastern part of UP. So these multiple fold growth will definitely bring a lot of money inside the pocket of the young entrepreneurs and the employees coming together in the country.
Well, Bal, I want to talk about that because Lucknow is increasingly becoming a wealth creation capital.
Yes.
All right. But the larger criticism when it comes to India and money is that we are a nation of savers and not a nation of investors. So what's your comment on that?
So it's true. But if you saw a recent data given by government few days back where the finance minister said the saving rates has reduced because people have taken a lot of loans, especially the home loan. And that is where the aspiration lies. Now people at my age or a little lower age are a lot much aspirational in terms of spending. मेरे ग्रैंडफादर शायद एक साइकिल को लग्जरी समझते थे
जी बिल्कुल
मैंने कल एक डेटा देखा कि 10 साल पहले हमारे इंडिया में कार्स जो एसयूवी सेगमेंट था वो सिर्फ 5% वाज द टोटल सेल ऑफ द कार्स and today it is 54% of the entire sale of the cars, the SUVs, the compact SUVs. That's the aspiration which the young generation is having right now. So saving is definitely a good part which India has been having prolonged. But the young population, the young generation is also ready to take the risk. That is why you see bitcoins, you see gold trading exchanges, you see a lot of other areas where the new products are venturing out.
और सर अगर नेक्स्ट जनरेशन की बात हो ही रही है, लुक दिस इज़ द इंफॉर्मेशन ओवरलोड जनरेशन.
Yes.
ठीक है, तो फाइनेंशियल एडवाइस अगर किसी से लें तो किससे लें? एटलीस्ट इवन इन द कंफर्ट ऑफ वंस इमीडिएट फैमिली एंड फ्रेंड सर्कल बहुत हिचकिचाहट होती है इन मैटर्स को ओपनली डिस्कस करने में, बातचीत करने में. Right? So what is the solution? You know, and at what time, what age and stage do you seek out the advice of a financial counselor? When does it even make sense?
So there are two parts of the question: with whom to take the advice, the right person, and when to start. So in my terms, I'll say the typical irony of the society is कि केमिस्ट्री पढ़नी है केमिस्ट्री के टीचर से, मैथ्स पढ़नी है मैथ्स के टीचर से, पर्सनल फाइनेंस सीखना है अपने फ्रेंड से, अपने कलीग से, अपने फादर से और रिश्तेदार से. सो इट इज़ अ सब्जेक्ट ऑफ हैविंग एक्सपर्ट इनटू इट. सो देयर आर फ्यू कॉमन ट्रेड्स लाइक दैट personal finance guy must have now the certifications that have been highly promoted by SEBI as well as the other bodies. Some are like certified financial planner, there are chartered wealth managers, there are other certifications which will reflect the intellect of the advisor. Second, the kind of experience he is having in the industry and the kind of reputation he has been holding since that experience years. So these are two common factors. And third, the most, because I am traveling to other parts of the country and interacting with other advisors also, हमारे लखनऊ या यूपी में एडवाइज़र का मतलब एक सिंगल पर्सन जो एक बैग लेके घूमता है एक बाइक पे. अगर थोड़ा पॉपुलर हो गया है और पैसा आ गया तो एक ऑफिस होगा, एक बैक ऑफिस होगा और एक रनर होगा. दिस इज़ नॉट द काइंड ऑफ सेटअप विच द काइंड ऑफ इमर्जिंग वेल्थ इज कमिंग टू द कंट्री, टू द सिटी, टू आवर स्टेट. Now we need hospitals of advice, just like hospitals of health.
Yeah.
Thus, like PNG is having the hospital, setups of legal advice. We need hospitals of advice where the individual advisor is handling certain number of families, the other individual handling the certain number of families under the one bucket, and that bouquet is having the entire brand value that has to be created.
Well, fair enough, Bal. And when we talk about Lucknow, there's a lot of multi-sector, rich range of family-owned and operated, you know, multi-generation family-owned and operated businesses. Okay? And in situations like that, oftentimes the lines get blurred between personal cash flow and spend in a corporate sense. Right? What are some of the commonly made mistakes, you know, for the benefit of our audience?
Definitely, there are a few common mistakes. It's like if you categorize the business persons in UP into three segments. There is a category of businessmen, the B and the C category. I'll talk to the bottom two categories. The personal cash flow and the business cash flow is not segregated. They are having the money withdrawn from their own business capital. And since there are two parts of the capital, one is the A part, the white part, and the B part, there is not a comprehensive accounting on both.
Right.
So either they are withdrawing the money from their capital, from their interest, from their profit, or from the OD account. They are not very clear. So the first and the foremost thing has to be done is a clear differentiation, a segregation between your personal books and your business books. Second, the major problem that I saw in between the COVID times, the tough times, people in business, the entrepreneurs, the business officials were asset rich and cash poor. मेरे पास 100 करोड़ की ज़मीन है, मेरे पास 2 फैक्ट्रीज़ हैं, मेरे पास 4 शोरूम्स हैं, बट कैश नहीं था जब कोविड ख़त्म हुआ और बिजनेस को रीस्टार्ट करना था. I have to bring back the labors, I have to generate the raw material. नया पैसा था नहीं, सीसी फुल थी, कोई उधार दे नहीं रहा था और पुराना धर वापस मिल नहीं रहा था, तो पैसा कहाँ से आएगा? So these are the common traits that have been found across the business entrepreneurs, which has to be now segregated in terms of personal books and professional books, and separate assets also together has to be built in terms of personal aspects as well as the business aspects.
And you know, Bal, when it comes to money matters, I think there are broadly two philosophies. एक है कि हार मान ली, I've missed the boat, it's too late, what can I do now? और दूसरी एक्सट्रीम पर है, you know, जब जागो तब सवेरा. All right? I personally feel neither is correct. What's your view, sir?
So, जब जागो तब सवेरा is also correct, And Warren Buffett said, I started at the age of 16 and I think that I was late. So both sides of the coins are true. But when it comes to compounding, compounding needs time, whether it is business, whether it is investing. I'll give you a classic example of investing, and since I am into personal finance, if something can be compounded at the rate of 15%, it can be doubled in 5 years, can be 4 times in 10 years, can be 8 times in 15 years, and can be 16 times in 20 years. But in another 5 years, it will be 32 times. The first 16 times was made in 20 years, and the last 16 times was made in just 5 years. So the compounding needs time, whether it is a businessman, whether it is an investing part, and whether it is any habit. We are being said that if you start changing your habit, the first 21 days required to make it a disciplined one. Then the second 66 required to make it into filled in your subconscious mind. So similarly, time requires for everything to grow.
And Bal, by way of last question, today you're a seasoned financial expert. Let's rewind a decade or two, right? What do you know now that you wish you knew then?
For me, if my parents would have had a good personal finance knowledge, I would have compounded a lot of money earlier than today. Because traditionally we have changed ourselves in terms of consumption. आज अपने घर में लैंडलाइन बहुत कम लोग रखते हैं. CRT TVs तो शायद किसी घर में होंगे ही नहीं. धोती पहन के कोई चलता नहीं है. पैजामा पहन के बहुत कम लोग दिखते हैं. We have changed when it comes to consumption. But when it comes to investing, we are still that old traditional one. So there, what my parents were not able to, I'm extremely sorry, I have a lot of respect for my parents, but personal finance is something which has not been taught to us. Luckily, in just generation coming in 12th or 11th, now CBSE and ICSE schools have started giving personal finance courses in their subjects too. So now probably they will be a little more competent to do some less mistakes, which we have done earlier.
All right. Bal Sachin Gupta, ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause, please.
Well, that brings this special episode to a wrap with all the highlights from the leaders of tomorrow's Springboard in the city of Lucknow. Thanks for tuning in.